Good morning. Welcome to OptionsTender. It is Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. Welcome, everybody. This channel is growing extremely well. So I want to start off always with SPX in this situation that we're in, a historic point of confluence here. We have the 2029 top, 2000 top, and we're forming a top here in 2024. Technically, we haven't made a new high yet. So we're doing this video about 11:35 Eastern Standard Time. If you're interested in getting these videos intraday, consider becoming a 99-cent YouTube supporter. Also, the $4.99 option is an individual analysis. For example, today we did we talked about hedging to the upside because technically there is a 1-2 setup going into the rest of this week for the bulls. I'm still bearish. I'm not by no means switching my position, but I have to protect my account. And I show how I think about it and what I chose to hedge with. Haven't pulled the trigger because it hasn't made it to that spot yet. And I'll point out that spot a little bit later on the 65-minute. Also, yesterday we did a NVIDIA short setup. And I released that to the public, so make sure you check that out. I'll link it up above and at the end of this video. A really, really good trade there. And we have another style of trade that's very similar on today as well with Google. So, all right, let's jump into it. We have SPX on the monthly time frame. We talked about the trend line from 1929. We also have the confluence of 2008, 2021, right at the top here, 2024. Let's go down. Let's go over to SPY. And I use SPY more often because people trade SPY and it's a lot more, we don't have to translate it, price-wise with SPX and into SPY. Okay, so here's our monthly time frame, 2008 top, 2021 and 2024. So we're so far an inside candle here, possible reversal candle here. I'm looking for follow through at this point. Going to the weekly. On the weekly time frame, just filling out this wedge so far, and this to me looks like bear flag type action. We're getting a little bit negative on here. We had a response from the 20-week moving average. It's a super important area, so that's not uncommon for that to happen. And at this point, we get back underneath the 8. I do think we're going to start breaking down from this point. So on the lower time frames, we'll discuss possibly making a new high here, or even trading a little bit higher, making a deeper retracement. Possibly for a double top. We'll see. Not really in that camp right now, but we have to look at all sides. Okay, so time and price. On the weekly time frame, we have a cluster in the beginning to mid-February. So we'll look where price is going into that time and price. I think the first spot here is 560. We're calling it, and I'll show you why, 555 all the way up to 565 would be the zone. That would be our first stop here going into, I think, January, then a bounce, and then I think we'll head lower with price accelerating into this zone, 520, 510, which would be the bottom of this wedge here that we formed on price action, and testing the bottom there. And you see how price acts at this point inside of this range. Just huge moves up, huge moves down, and vice versa. It took 3 weeks to get from one side to the other. It could even be faster in a bearish scenario, okay? Looking at the daily time frame. On the daily, we have a bearish rising wedge. And this is the wedge that we're talking about testing the bottom of. So that's why I have the red arrows out here. I have a couple of different examples of other bear scenarios that happened in the past and how fast they were and how big of retracements they are. So moving down to those levels within 15 days or so is just not, it's not uncommon for to begin a recession. And we're not in that scenario at this point. We're kind of sideways into this range here. You see this range? That's what we're in. And we're trying to see what price is going to do next. Does it break out and get just a new high here, which we have our 2008 trend line up here. So, you know, is that possible? Do we just back test this trend line one more time? We'll see. We broke down from it, back tested, and I think we're getting a lower high, and we continue lower. So price is having a little bit of trouble here at the 50 moving average and the 8 EMA. So if it loses that, then I think this will play out very nicely. And this is also a head and shoulder setup here, where the neckline at 585. And then you have this measured move here, which you just take a line from the neckline to the top of the point of the head, and you go ahead and put it at that breakdown level. And that brings us right into this zone here that we were looking for to be the next spot there. And I said the zone was 555. You can look at the right there where I'm putting the crosshairs. On the right side, it says 555. And the upper end would be 565. Right there in the middle is where the measured move is, which is in this consolidation area. So that would be good support. And you have the 200 moving average as well. So price clearly would have to break down from this point. We'll see what happens later, going on today and later into this week. Let's go over to time, price, Fibonacci, all that good stuff. So we had a time and price come in today, and that clearly looked like unless something happens later in today, it looks like you have 4 different spots here. We will go ahead and take those off so we can clear up our board. And one more. Okay, so the next one would be 113, just a single. But then our next, it looks like our next cluster is around 123, 124. I think we even have a 127 there. So a few days clustered there. I think that might be 127. So we'll be looking for some sort of price action into that zone. And so that's why if you, in the Discord, if you see, which the Discord comes with anything that you join onto. If you're a Patreon member, you get the Discord. If you join YouTube, which I recommend higher, the prices are lower and you get more out of it, then you get the Discord. So we have the trade alerts in the Discord. And so this 123 cluster here, that's why I put some more trades on past that date, just in case this is the cluster low here going into price here in this range here, the 565. Okay, let's go to the 65. That's 65 minute. Once again, we'll visit the traditional technical analysis. You have the bearish rising wedge, broke down from it, back tested. And you notice that this is the zone that is very, very important, and it proved that really twice here in a big way. But you have resistance a few times, support, 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 support. And I don't think this will hold this next time. So we have this downtrend line here. Kind of left that there because, you know, technically looking at this, that was a fake break, back tested that downtrend line with a gap up today and broke down from it. So this is truly a valid line here, a downtrend line at this point. It was also, we pointed this out yesterday, left shoulder with an equal right shoulder right here. We rejected right off of this resistance as well. So price did not reach the 600, which is the options expected move to the upper end. So it is a probable situation where price can reach, it's still either in, there's no bias, but if we're bearish and this continues, by Friday, 583.31, price should be down to that level at that point. And follow through with Monday, I think we'll start to break down from this head and shoulder. So this is kind of the scenario that I think might be playing out at this point. We have the move down here, the options, not the options, but the measured move from the head and shoulders. That gets us into this 555 to 565 area. So I labeled this as green, where we'll probably get a bounce at that point. Okay, so this is a big price zone here. This was also on the weekly time frame a breakout zone, so that's why this is so important. This would be considered a fake break on the higher time frames. And then I think we get some sort of bounce, and this bounce, I have no idea how high this will be. This would be a typical 382 bounce for wave 4, but just like in 2000 when that price action was happening, this bounce was much higher. So we'll keep that downtrend in line. This could be a leading diagonal, and so that would not be an uncommon thing to cross over the possible wave 1 here. Okay, so this could be anywhere. We'll talk about that later. Here's the near-term price action, and here's the spot that I was talking about for the hedging. So the 50% retracement. So if you're a bull, you're looking at this being an impulse wave here after a 3-wave move. Okay, you're looking at this as an ABC correction. You're looking for higher prices. So you'd be looking at this being an impulse wave 1 and a pullback wave 2 into 50-60% retracement. So far we're holding this 382, which would be really bullish if it held on to here and kept going higher. But I think price is likely to go down a little bit lower, at least tag the 50 or 60% retracement, and that's when I'd add my hedges. All right, so we have our cluster here at 1.7, and take those out. That matched up with the daily time frame. That gave just a good probability that something was going to occur, some sort of trade setup, and so that that ended up being the high here, even though yesterday we had another high. All right, and so what I'm looking at is this being a wave 1 and a leading diagonal where this is an ABC into a wave 1 in the yellow, and what we're getting here is a ABC for wave 2, and then a deep retracement for a B, and then a C wave. So we should get an impulse wave for a wave 3 going down into that 565 level, and we're talking about 121, 124, 127 being a good area. We do have 117, so that starts to match up more around these later dates here. So we'll see how fast price moves down, and if we're down to those levels at 565 and all the way down to this is a measure move, an extension from wave 1 into wave 2, and wave 3 that would be a typical spot, and that's at 556. So that's, again, all of this is coming right into play, right into that level of consolidation and the breakout that we're talking about. So we should see some sort of reaction from there, where we get a wave 4, and that could be a big wave 4, could be a small one that chops around for a while. Just don't know that. And then as price gets a little bit lower here, I'll start labeling this. For example, if this could be a 1-2 and then a 1-2 setup. Doesn't have to bounce very high at this point because we're deep into a wave 3 of 3. And so this could be the beginning of wave 1, and then this could be a 2, so on and so forth. And then we'll be looking for a wave 3. We can kind of, I'm bouncing back and forth here. And then maybe this goes down to the top of the level here, maybe a small bounce. We finish off here for wave 3. And 4 and 5 much lower to test the bottom of the wedge area. All right, so we'll kind of clean this up as things happen. But let's see, anything else? Nope, nothing on this board. Let's go around the horn real quick and get this video out to you. So here's the wedge for the Qs. This is ultimately where we wanted to test. All right, that would be a great level here at 448 or even any level lower, about 434. Those would be fantastic end results there. But in the meantime, our measure move here for a 1-2 setup, and I think this might be just a little bit different than SPY. I don't believe that this is a 1-2-1-2. I think a little bit more conservative would be where this a impulse wave 1, and then we're getting a running flat here, and where we have an a B that breaks the lows, and then a C that gets a lower low here, and then we start moving into a wave 3. So that measure move in wave 3 is about 482, and you see that we have some trade in the Discord. You see that we have some trades all the way down at those levels there, going into later dates. Price action, again, this could be a 1-2. Maybe we get a 1-2. Maybe this is all just part of wave 1, and tomorrow we get some sort of wave 2 there. You can't really tell, though. It's all speculation, but we're just lower highs and lower lows. Any bounces that we get, we'll sell into. And you notice that digging in just even a little closer, price action is starting to dip again. We already hit this 50% retracement. So if you're bullish and this is a wave 1 here, then you're looking at a pullback into the 50-60% retracement. We kind of satisfied that already, but not on SPY. So I do believe that maybe this is relatively stronger. And if you're a bull, we should see a wave 3 impulse much higher there. IWM hit the channel bottom. Just really consolidating. It could break those lows there, but this also could end up being a more complex correction. It already had a huge move to the downside, and it's just kind of consolidating sideways. And so, yeah, I'm not playing IWM. It already had its move. If it wants to break down lower, so be it. But all of the potential is in the Qs and SPY. Same thing with DIA. Just a massive move there. And consolidating sideways. Does it continue lower? Does it get a more complex bounce? I don't really know, but we'll have to see how that plays out. But again, the move is done here. The meat of the trade is over. And SMH. So with NVIDIA, you can, again, look at that video at the, I'll tag it up top or at the end. So this one, you could look at this as a triangle breakout. You know, obviously price action was really bullish, and so if it's breaking out, maybe this is just a back test and it goes much higher. Okay, I'm still looking at this being a bear wedge, and I could move that wedge over to here at that point because we made a new high here. But I think that it actually falls from this point. It does have a little bit higher, could go, you know, if need be, but I think we just missed. I mean, it's possible we just missed the retracement. There's a little bit higher retracement for 786, so that looks like unfinished business to me. Does it go higher? Possibly, but I'm still looking at this as a big old bear flag. Whether you move this to this point now that it made new high, either way, this is a flag that's playing out, in my opinion, and it will resolve lower. And that will be, at that point, if you're looking at this as a triangle, that would be a fake break if you get under there, which would be really, really bearish. And finally, the VIX. VIX is starting to perk up. We had this downtrend line and broke out. Tremendous move there, and then retrace really deep, and now starting to make some more positive market structures to the upside. So we talked about the VIX in the hedges getting up to 10%. That could say that tomorrow could be a bounce, and so that's why we want to be careful. There's some things telling us that the market could bounce into tomorrow, and you know, our trade's starting to work there, and the theoretical trade. Yeah, let's get this out to you. I do suspect that this is a higher low, and that VIX starts to go much higher at this point. So thank you for all the likes, subscribes, all the support that has been happening. Let's keep this channel growing. Let's make some money.